Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, and it is time for another episode of Unpopular Opinions, my weekly show where we break down all of the top Bravo news and moments of the week. And yes, of course, give my opinions on them all.
That's my opinion!
And let me tell you, I've got some this week. There was a lot going down in the Bravo universe this week. We had a lot of great episodes, as well as some interesting news that came out about Jax, about Brittany, and Hannah Berner, who seems to be in the center of the drama no matter which way you look. I am going to get into all of the news that you need to know, but before I dive in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news. Okay, when I am talking about good episodes of TV from this past week, I am referring to The Traitors. The Traitors delivered in every which way. That finale was absolutely epic. Now, if you don't watch, I don't know what you're doing, but you can skip ahead to the next story. But I have to discuss that finale and a little bit about the reunion because it was just epic. So there will be spoilers if you have not watched the finale. But in that final episode, we find out that Brittany, who was a traitor with Danielle, ended up betraying her guys. When she turned around that chalkboard and showed that she actually voted for Danielle, my jaw absolutely dropped. I was not expecting this. Now, I know I told you guys that I figured that she would turn on her eventually. I didn't think it was going to be this soon. However, I was thrilled because you guys know I did not want Danielle to win that show. She just irks me. She rubs me the wrong way. I was really glad she was voted out. And even if Brittany ended up winning and taking it home, I would have been happy just for that one moment alone, her voting Danielle out. But we got that moment, and then we also figured out who the seer was. That was also Brittany, which was a total twist I was not expecting to happen. She chose Gabby. They sat down, they had that dinner. Of course, Gabby is a faithful, but I feel like no matter what Brittany did with this information, she was still going to have a target on your back because as the seer, you're either going to tell the truth or lie about it. So I feel like anybody who got that position probably would have been a red flag, regardless of who they were or what they did. Somehow, Dylan was able to convince everybody in the castle to vote for Brittany, even Dolores. Yes, Dolores, who got 8 out of the 10 votes of the season wrong, finally decided to vote with her brain for once and not with her heart. I guess it's because Tom Sandoval wasn't in the castle for her to vote for, but she finally used her brain and voted. So congrats. Congrats to Dolores for making the right decision for once. They get to the end and we are all around that fire pit. We've got Dylan, Ivar, Gabby, and Dolores. And they're making us think that Dolores might throw red and banish Dylan. Now, I would not have been okay with this. Honestly, Dylan is my MVP of the season. I thought he played the game wonderfully, was always on everybody's backs, but also forming alliances that I think could have taken him to the end, but he was too smart to kind of, follow through with those. So I just think that he was an amazing game player. I did not want him to be voted out, especially because he was a faithful. Once again, Dolores voted with her brain and the faithfuls won it. I could not have been happier. Do you guys know that viral video of that woman like screaming at the TV during a football game?
Come on! Listen, are they doing, come on! Are they doing 2 points? Yeah!
That was me in this moment. I was so happy that the faithfuls took this home. I think it was another amazing season of the Traitors. The only thing I'm sad about is that we have to wait another year for the next one. The reunion was also amazing. We got a little bit of information from Danielle clearing up a few things that she did or didn't do in the castle. One of which, there was a rumor going around that she actually broke her NDA and told Brittany that she was a traitor. You are not supposed to do this in the game, but allegedly people were saying that Danielle did it. Well, she denied that, so she did not cheat, but she did confirm that she was actually swearing on her grandchildren's life that she wasn't a traitor. She did that to Dolores because she knew that family was so important to Dolores. So she was basically manipulating the hell out of her. And everybody else in the castle, apparently, because she was telling everybody else that too. And I don't know. I feel like that's something pretty serious. I'm not sure I would go that far if I were a traitor, but I guess it did work for her. I mean, as much as I dislike her, she was the longest lasting traitor in the game. So props to her. Also in the reunion, Gosh, can we just talk about Ion and Dorinda versus Bob the drag queen? I mean, I feel like we were robbed of more of that in the game. Honestly, you guys know I love Dorinda. I wish we got more of her at the round table and Ion. I mean, Dorinda being so upset that Bob the drag queen didn't know who she was. And then Ian to one up that and be like, you didn't like me because I was funny and I was going to steal your thunder. Like, only a housewife would do this. Housewives know how to do reunions. And I just loved this moment of the reunion. And I wish we got more of this at the round table because I would have loved to see these three go head to head at that round table. So let me know what you guys thought of the Traitors finale. Were you happy with the ending? Were you rooting for the faithfuls or the traitors? I am sure happy with how it ended up, and I cannot wait till next season. Okay, let's move on to some Bravo news because the one and only Jax Taylor was on Bravo's Hot Mic podcast this week. I'm sure you guys saw it because it was pretty much the biggest news of the week. Jax has come out and said he has a cocaine addiction, and he was currently 83 days at the time of that interview. But I think as of now, he's actually hit 100 days. Are we surprised to find this out? No. Honestly, no, I don't think anybody is surprised to find this out. However, I am really glad that he is seeking help and getting sober for the sake of his family. He sat down with Alex Baskin and shared, it's tough to say. I'm an addict. I have substance issues primarily with cocaine. Oh, that's hard to say out loud. I've been dealing with this for I think the last on and off since I was 23. I'm 45. There was times where I would stop doing it, and then there was times where I'd go heavy on it. I think a lot of people who watched Vanderpump Rules over the years could kind of tell that I was on something. You think? Taylor made sure to note, I don't necessarily think I have an alcohol problem, but the two go hand in hand. I can't do cocaine without drinking, so I just gave up both, and I'm proud to say that I'm 82, 83 days sober right now. The Bravo celebrity told Baskin that this is the longest he's gone without anything since he was 21. I gotta say, it feels really, really good. But I just want to let people know this is a really, really tough disease and a really tough sickness. I've been doing it for so long, he shared, adding that he feels as though he's been hiding it or lying about it forever. However, he hit his breaking point last year, which he described as the hardest of his life, and realized that enough's enough. He elaborated that he had to go to rehab twice. Though he got a lot out of the first time, there was an incident in which he saw a man's name pop up on Cartwright's phone, which triggered him and caused him to slip. Taylor confessed that he lost it and went crazy in the car with the estranged couple's 3-year-old son, Cruz, in the back seat, which is why he went back to rehab. That's when I knew, shit, I have a problem. It's still there, he recalled thinking. The TV personality felt utter disgust knowing his young child witnessed his behavior, explaining that Cartwright urged him in that moment, you need to go back. He said he didn't even put up a fight like he did the first time. Now, this is really, really sad to read. Obviously, hearing that his addiction has been going on for 20 years, but the fact that it affected his relationship with his family, especially his relationship with his son, Cruz. It kind of sounds to me, I don't know if you guys took this away from his interview, but that moment where it all happened in front of Cruz, I'm pretty sure that was Brittany's breaking point. I'm pretty sure that's when she decided to officially file for divorce, move out. I think her and Cruz went to an Airbnb at that point. So I think that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest. So, of course, we all wanted to know what Brittany has to say about this, and she responded just an hour later after the interview came out. She said, for the first time, I could speak openly about the extent of trauma he's instilled on our family over the years. I've tried desperately to help him without success. I pray that one day he completely knocks his addiction, but I'm skeptical. His behaviors are still alarming, and his treatment plan seems to be the bare minimum. I'm trying to navigate this as best as I can for my son and I, but every day is still a challenge and very difficult. Jax has caused an enormous amount of damage, and I have very little trust in him at this point. My only hope is that one day he will be a better person for his son. So, my key takeaway from this is that he is doing the bare minimum when it comes to treatment. I mean, let's be real, Brittany is the one that knows him better than any of us. And honestly, I think that Jax went on this podcast to, of course, like he always does, play the victim. But Brittany is going to call it like she sees it. And of course, Jax is just going to be Jax. Like, is this real? Is he really going to do this for his family and get better? Or is this just a ploy for sympathy? She continued with another statement on Instagram stories that said, His addiction, unfortunately, has done irreparable damage to my son and I. I've spent years trying to help him. I wish more than anyone I could say how proud I am of him today, but I'd be lying. His actions will speak for themselves. And to those asking why I stayed if I knew he had a problem all these years, you can't help who you fell in love with. I've done absolutely everything in my power to get him the help he desperately needed. Unfortunately, I was naive and believed his empty promises and his pleas to change for years. Once you have a child with someone, it's not easy to leave. It took everything in my power to gather the strength to walk away. For those that have been through similar, you get it. For those that question me, that's okay. I'm in a much better place now. So I'm glad that Brittany came out and said this because, to be honest, I think she said what we were all thinking. I mean, a lot of the other cast members have actually come out and said they knew about this addiction. They knew that Jax was doing drugs. They knew he was doing cocaine the whole time we were on Vanderpump Rules. So basically, when he met Brittany, he was doing it throughout their entire relationship. He's been doing it. They've been there to witness this all. So why did Brittany put up with it for so long? It's almost like she knew what she was getting herself into when she started dating him, because I feel like if this addiction has been going on for 20 years, you saw it probably pretty early on. But of course, she fell for him. And I have a feeling that he gave her a lot of very empty promises. He kept saying that he would change, become a better person, and not. And I really hope that this isn't another one of them. You know, the further out we get from Vanderpump Rules, the more I think we need some sort of like docu-series. Like, you know how Erica Jane's husband, Tom Girardi, had like the Housewife and the Hustler Hulu docu-series? We need like a Vanderpump Rules docu-series. And my working title is Dark Alleys, the Vanderpump Rules story. And I think it can go into like what really went on with these people. I mean, James's abuse, Jax's addiction, all of the cheating and lying and manipulation. Don't get me wrong, I loved the show. We loved the show. But the deeper that we dig into these people and their lives and their stories, the darker and darker it gets. So, producers, I'm giving you this idea. I think we need it. I am available to sit down and do an interview. So, hit me up. Okay, let's move on to another big headline from the week, and that is Hannah Berner. So, Hannah Berner isn't only making waves on Summer House right now, but she is also making waves in the media, and not for something too good. Because, in case you guys missed it, her and Paige were invited to cover the Vanity Fair Oscars after party red carpet. They interviewed a ton of celebrities. I thought they did a decent job for the most part, except for one interview in particular, and that is Hannah's with Megan Thee Stallion. Hannah is currently under fire for a comment she said to Megan that is considered a microaggression. So I'm pretty sure Megan came up, and while they knew who she was, I'm not really sure Hannah is super familiar with her music, because she said this comment that she listens to Megan Thee Stallion's music when she wants to fight. She's like, your music makes me want to get in a fight. Whenever somebody is talking shit, I tell them to go listen to Megan Thee Stallion. And the internet quickly went into an uproar. People were not happy with this comment, specifically because Megan's music is not about violence, it's not about fighting. It's actually supposed to be kind of like a confidence boost for women. And Megan Thee Stallion is also a victim of domestic violence. So to bring up fighting or violence in an interview with Megan Thee Stallion is inappropriate, to say the least. A lot of people were talking about this all week. It was all over TikTok, and people were wondering if Hannah was going to come out and apologize. Well, nearly a week later, she did post an apology to Instagram stories. It reads, interviewing Megan Thee Stallion was a dream of mine. I love her music, and it's my go-to whenever I need to boost my confidence before a show. Looking back at the interview, I wish I used any other word except fight to describe how her songs impact me. It was a careless choice of words, and though there was no ill intent, I recognize and acknowledge that what I said has a deeper meaning, and I am so sorry to Megan. I appreciate everyone who brought this to my attention. Hannah. Now, do I think this is sincere? Yes. Do I think that Hannah should be let off of the hook entirely? I don't know. I think she might need to take a breather, especially from interviewing celebrities. If there's anything that I've learned from this instance, It's that if you're going to put somebody on a red carpet, make sure they have media training. Like, yes, Hannah and Paige have a very successful podcast. Hannah is also a very successful comedian, but that is completely different than interviewing people on the red carpet. You have to know what questions are good to ask. You kind of have to be educated on these people and their backgrounds and what they do and their projects and all this stuff. And I'm not sure that these women were really quite prepared for that. Do I think that Hannah deserves to be canceled over this? No. Do I think she has a lesson to be learned? Yes. I think they definitely need to look inward and make sure that they are a little bit more educated about the things that they say, especially during interviews on the red carpet. Now, will they be asked back to do more interviews on the red carpet? Probably not anytime soon with this backlash. I feel bad. They were very, very excited for this Vanity Fair moment. And I do think that it will affect their future partnerships with them. But we all make mistakes. And I do think that Hannah deserves to be forgiven. Let's give her another shot. Let's see if she does the work. So, not only was Hannah in the news for that this week, but she is also the center of the story on Summer House. And she is not even on the show, guys. I want to get your thoughts on the whole Kyle and Paige situation because, of course, Paige brought it up at Lindsay's It's a Girl dinner, gender reveal dinner, whatever, which I have a lot to say about that also. But in my opinion, I do not think that Kyle has any right to go after Paige in this moment. Like, am I wrong? He is not only rage texting her, but he is raging out at this dinner table too, accusing Paige of being in the middle of everything that Craig and Hannah are doing. I'm sorry, Kyle, but you have zero legs to stand on with this one. Paige absolutely did not do anything wrong. In fact, she didn't do anything at all. She has not even commented about anything that has gone on between Kyle and Hannah. She is not responsible for the business decisions that her boyfriend makes or what comes out of her best friend's mouth, especially if it's from a podcast that's not even theirs. So I think for Kyle to be mad at Paige about all of these things that, yes, people close to her did, but are not related to her in any way, I think is completely unfair. I also found it interesting that this was the first time we are actually acknowledging Giggly Squad at all on the show. Like, Paige has acted like it doesn't even exist in her life when it is her biggest job. She basically said, if she can't really talk about it or, have it be involved in her life like the show is, then she might not continue on the show. And I think that we need to look at that and take what she says to heart because I really think that I don't know. I think Paige's future on Summer House might be short lived at this point. With all of the drama going on, with Giggly Squad blowing up, with her other career endeavors getting bigger and better as well, she really, really doesn't need the show. And if it's only going to cause more drama in her life, if she says it, I think we should believe it. I'm not sure that we're going to see Paige next season, to be honest. I also want to give a shout out. I never really thought that I would do this, but I want to shout out Carl Radke in this episode because the fact that he participated and not only just participated, but actually looked like he was having fun at his ex-fiance's gender reveal party is absolutely insane. I mean, he was running around wearing that pink shirt, having a blast, sitting there at that dinner table with the It's a Girl bib on. I mean, he was like happy as can be. Honestly, I have to give props to Carl for being such a great sport in this moment. Like, we kind of all thought that this season it was going to blow up between Lindsay and Carl in the house, but they actually seem to be getting along. And it almost goes to show they were always going to be better off friends. And although it's very, very soon, I think that it's safe to say that there might be a friendship between them in the future. So I just had to give props to Carl because I thought that was absolutely insane in the best way. All right, let's talk about Southern Charm for a minute because, of course, we got the end of the cast trip to the Bahamas and we got the end of Shep and Scheana as well. Just when we thought it couldn't get more cringe than that text message that Shep sent Scheana, we got their actual sit down and it was, oh my gosh, so brutal to watch, guys. Like, it's like you had to almost like cover your eyes. You almost didn't really want to watch it. It's like watching a car wreck. It's so bad, but you can't look away. Scheana wants nothing to do with this man. He keeps saying that they were in love. She is denying it completely. And then he says, "Oh, can I give you a gift?" Oh no. Oh no, I'm sorry. Like Craig, yes, was a little out of control, but I agree with him. Do not give this woman a gift. She is saying she doesn't love you. She doesn't want to be with you. Why would you give her this gift? Do you think that a shark tooth necklace is going to help change her mind? Don't even get me started on the shark tooth necklace. A megalodon tooth? Really? Shep, are we 6 years old? Not only the fact that a shark tooth necklace is not a good gift, he also gave Taylor a shark tooth necklace. What is with the shark teeth, Shep? I didn't know he had some obsession over shark teeth. I mean, it kind of makes more sense for Scheana because she lives in the Bahamas, so I can see a tie in there. But the fact that he also gave Taylor one as well, it's very odd. This man is very odd. I don't think I will ever fully understand the choices that he makes in life. And then if you watch the after show, Taylor shares that she actually modeled the megalodon tooth necklace that Shep gave to Scheana. I guess Taylor did some modeling, or maybe it was some sort of Instagram post or partnership. I don't know. I just saw a clip. But the fact that Taylor was photographed wearing this necklace and then Shep bought it for his new girlfriend, it's just all so weird. It's so weird. This cast trip was so weird. It was supposed to be centered around Scheana. We barely saw her. She came, she told Shep she didn't love him. Then they had an awkward side hug. And then, as if that weren't embarrassing enough, Shep goes to get a drink from the bartenders and decides to tell them the entire story. And you have three men just standing behind the bar, just listening to him talk and tell him their story. And it's just like, oh God, Shep. Like, again, I don't feel sorry for him. I really don't. I think everybody on the show agrees he's getting a taste of his own medicine. But God, that was tough to watch. That was really tough to watch. Then we had Craig reveal that he had some sort of addiction to alcohol and that, him distancing himself from Austin was actually to help him with that. He shares that Paige really helped him through that. And of course, anytime that Craig and Paige talk about being with each other in a positive way, it actually breaks my heart. And I think that kind of shows, Craig's been doing all of these interviews saying how Paige made him a better person. He's definitely a better person now than he was when they met. And I think this is what he means. I think Paige definitely helped him get out of a dark place that he was in his life. And even though they didn't make it, I still think that it was a good thing for him to have her in his life. I think she was a positive role model in his life, obviously, and I think they are both better off for it. So that's pretty much it for the big news of the week. Though I do want to give a shout out to one person that I think had a fabulous week. Now, this is somebody that is not my favorite, but you have to give credit when credit is due. And that credit this week goes to Scheana Shay. She had one hell of a week. So she was actually unmasked on The Masked Singer this week, which is huge for Scheana. Like, let's be real, it's no Dancing with the Stars. But for Scheana to go on and do something else, be on another reality show, be on stage, be able to sing, like props to Scheana, honestly. And then not only that, I don't know if you guys saw, but a few weeks ago, Lady Gaga did an interview with Vanity Fair. She was asked about Bravo because all roads lead to Bravo and stars, they're just like us. Lady Gaga loves Bravo, specifically Vanderpump Rules. First of all, she was asked whether she was excited for the Vanderpump Rules reboot. Her response was yes, no, yes. And I think that's all of us. Like, we're a little bit wary and unsure of it, but we're going to watch. Then she was asked who she will miss the most from the OG cast. And without any hesitation, she said Scheana. I love this for Scheana. I think this was amazing. If I were Scheana and heard this, I would be ecstatic. And Lady Gaga hosted SNL this past weekend. Guess who was invited to the after party? The one and only Scheana Shay. So if anybody's having a great week in the Bravo world right now, it is Scheana Shay. And let's be real, she deserves it. She deserves it. The last couple seasons were tough on her. Of course, the show got canceled, but she's having a great week and her book's coming out soon too. So I would say it's safe to say that Scheana Shay, after Vanderpump Rules, is kind of thriving and I kind of love to see it. So that's it for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think of my opinions. Do you agree with them? Do you not? Let me know what you think in the comments and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news.